Hi everyone. So I've been using the Samsung Galaxy A35 for the past few days. So I wanted to tell you how has been my experience. Is it really that bad? Because if you believe Twitter or the tech community, A35 and A55 are basically a piece of trash. And as you know, always exaggerated in the tech community or the Twitter community. Now, based on my experience, this Samsung Galaxy A35 is not that bad. In fact, in some areas, it is quite good. I actually like the design of the Samsung Galaxy A35. The plastic frames, the glass back, and I like this color. It's sort of light blue. Gives off like a very Samsungish feeling because, as you know, Samsung is trying to put the same design on all its phone, whether it's flagship or it's the A series. If I just show you the back, you might even say that this might be S23 FE or maybe even S24 or S23 because all of them have the same three camera rings on the back. One thing that people complain is the bezel. Now, bezel is, I agree, is slightly on the thicker side, but it's not a deal breaker. You get used to it. There are more like slimmer bezel phones out there, but in terms of the build quality, the premium feeling, I mean, at 28,000 in India, this is actually one of the better feeling phones in terms of the ergonomics, the haptics. Because if you look at this price range, if you use other phones, they might have slimmer bezels, but in terms of the weight, the premium feeling, build quality, they will not be able to compete with this. So yes, in terms of bezels, Samsung might have further improved this, trying to make it more symmetrical or reducing the bezels. But in terms of build quality, I have no complaints. It has actually pretty good haptic feedback also compared to phones in this range. I have the Nothing Phone 2S, and the haptic feedback on that is pretty hollow, very teeny. But this is actually solid feedback, solid haptic feedback for the price range. I know people hate on One UI, especially on Samsung mid-range phones, but so far I have not faced any issue. Definitely not any bug. There could be micro stutters when you are like trying to open the camera and close. So you might face some micro stutters, which will not be there on the flagship Samsung phones. But it's not a deal breaker. And at this price range, I think that is not unexpected. In terms of other things like general scrolling, browsing social media, this feels actually quite good. And the screen looks gorgeous. So one thing that you need to give to Samsung is that whether it's their flagship phones or the mid-rangers, I mean, they don't compromise on this screen. So it has the 120 Hz display, full HD, and I think 1000 nits of maximum brightness, which is pretty good. I mean, decent enough, not like a flagship level, but decent enough to look. And also, I want to show you the battery life. Yesterday, I went to Isle of Wight here in UK, and I used this very extensively. So let me show you. Yeah. So the battery usage is 88% and screen on time is 3 hours 55 minutes. Now I was on 4G or 5G the whole time, depending. It's kept switching from 4G to 5G depending on the available coverage. And look at the top two battery consuming apps: Maps and Camera. Both 45 minutes, 14 minutes. Then YouTube. I had also enabled always on display. So considering everything that this was not on Wi-Fi, I think almost 4 hours screen on time is still like more than 10% to go. It's actually pretty good because I was shooting 4K videos, taking multiple photos. Then I was also like using navigation for quite some time. Then in between some social browsing, Twitter, YouTube, as you can see on the battery consumption chart. So 4 hours of screen on time with this usage, I will call it a heavy usage. It is actually pretty good. With normal usage on 5G, you will then definitely get like 5.5 to 6 hours screen on time because you will not be using Maps and Camera that much. You will be just be using normal YouTube and other social medias. So in terms of battery life, it is actually quite good. And another problem that people have said, Exynos, it heats. Yes, the previous generation Exynos used to heat, but this 1380 surprised me because I was out and about on mobile data yesterday, and the maximum I could feel is that a slight warm feeling on this next to the cameras when I was shooting 4K. And it was like very slight warm. It was definitely not hot to touch, not even like proper warm to touch. It was very slight. You could feel the temperature is slightly higher. If you would have used the previous generation Exynos, I am sure it would have like heated. And yes, and yesterday it was like totally sunny in the UK. If it is able to control the heat under direct sunlight, then I think Samsung had done a good job. So far I am quite liking it. I wish the bezels were slimmer, yes. But yeah, I don't have any other complaints so far now. Camera also I found it to be quite good. Yes, on the front camera you can shoot 4K 30 FPS. You cannot shoot 4K 60 FPS. But at this price range, 4K 30 FPS you probably won't find on any of the other phones. And on rear also you can shoot 4K with the main camera. On the ultra wide you can shoot only 1080p, and there is a 5 megapixel macro camera that I don't know who will use. So overall, I think this phone has been getting too much hate for no particular reason. I think only because of these bezels and probably the Exynos processor. But if you actually use it for some time, I don't think you will feel anything lacking in this phone. I am a user of S24 Ultra. I am a user of Nothing Phone 2A. And now I have been using this. So of course, it won't compare to S24 Ultra in terms of premiumness, but it is much better than Nothing Phone 2A in terms of how it feels in hand, the premiumness, the build quality, when you interact with the phone, the haptic feedback, all those things are better. In fact, camera is also much better than Nothing Phone. So all in all, I think if you decide to buy this, you won't go wrong. And considering Samsung has been even beating Google at the update game, this phone will be getting 4 years of major OS updates and 5 years of security patches. Which other budget phone or the mid-range phone can say that? So if you want to use a phone in long term, you don't want to spend too much money on it, I think Samsung Galaxy A35 is a good option. So yes, I will also post a few pics and videos that I shot yesterday so that you can also check out for yourself the camera performance of this phone. Hey guys, so we are at Ride port, and we will take the hovercraft back from here to Portsmouth. So we are at Sandown Beach, and currently it's high tide, so you know most of the beach is covered, and on the far you can see some white cliffs. Now you saw the camera samples. I think it looked pretty good, right? The daytime videos, photos are actually quite good. Even the nighttime are decent enough. So that was about the camera. Yeah, I mean, if you ask me whether I will keep this phone or not, I'm not sure, because I already have the S24 Ultra. So I am into those flagship phones. I already have the Nothing Phone 2A because I wanted to try something different. Nothing Phone 2A, it has its own advantage in terms of software. So I don't know whether I will be keeping this phone or not. Maybe I will return it. Maybe I will give it to someone to use. I don't know. I think I wanted to dispel the myth that this is a bad phone. It's definitely not a bad. So let me know if you have any queries, questions about the Samsung Galaxy A35, and I will try to answer those in my next video or in the comments. And please do like and subscribe. Stick around for the next video. Thank you and cheers.